So I just wanted to talk about this book, The Having. I think in some circles it's pretty well known. It's been out for a little while. I've heard other people talk about it, but I never read it myself. Finally, I did order it, and I made my boyfriend read it, and he he tried to explain the book to me, and he did explain it, but I didn't actually fully get it until I started reading it myself. Now, I'm not quite halfway through. I am still reading it, but I just wanted to talk about it for a minute because it's one of those where, again, he explained it to me. A lot of the concepts I already knew, but he kept saying, like, you have to read it yourself. You have to read it yourself. And I was like, okay, I'll read it. And so I finally started reading it, and I will say he is right. Like, you really do have to read it yourself. The things he was explaining to me, I understood, but I didn't really get it till I started reading it. It's really well written. It's explained so well. There's so many examples in there. It's an easy read. Like, each chapter is like 4 pages long or something. It's tiny little snippets. So everyone out there, if you are still, you're struggling with anxiety and stress, you're still struggling with overwhelm, this is an easy read. You want to read a chapter, it will take you like 4 minutes to read a chapter, and you can put it down and read the next chapter later. It is great. And the principle of it, and why I love it so much, is it talks about having your easiest, best way to wealth is by practicing having. This is what the guru calls it, having. And what it is essentially, it's just gratitude. Being grateful for what you have around you, practicing gratitude for things that you've already purchased, things you are purchasing in your life, having that proper response to money and things in your world, creating abundance by realizing you have abundance, right? And the part that's really different in this is I've always, like, I do practice gratitude. I teach all my clients to practice gratitude, but it's kind of like you have to almost remind yourself, okay, yeah, what am I grateful for? And you think, oh, I'm grateful for the sun, I'm grateful for my house, or like you try and be grateful. Like, you have to think of these things. Sometimes they come to you, like if I'm outside playing with my plants or something, I'm like, oh, I'm really grateful for plants. I really love my plants, but it's not necessarily something that is just kind of always brewing. That is a more difficult habit to really just like live in gratitude all the time. That's a little bit more difficult, especially with the hustle, the bustle, all of the annoyances everywhere. It can be a trying habit to keep up. I totally get that. But what this does, it's a different level. So in practicing gratitude, for me, it's a feeling of like appreciation, right? Just like I don't know how to describe the feeling of appreciation. It's not really happiness, it's not joy. But yeah, it's just like yeah, I can't really describe it, but just being, I appreciate that I have this, I appreciate that person. It's its own different feeling, right? This might not be for you, but this is how I process, how I kind of um, how it works for me. And so in this book, having, it's not mental, it's not logical. We don't like, oh, I have this laptop, so obviously I have money to buy it. Therefore, I'm grateful for this laptop. Like, that's not what this is. Practicing having is all about emotion, right? It's same as being grateful. You can't just be like, oh, I'm so grateful, it's nice out. Like, you have a feeling like you appreciate that it's nice out, right? That gratefulness. And what the added part is in having is happiness and joy, like that ability to savor what you have. So there's one part where it's really, really well described. The person who wrote the book, she struggled. She was raised in a family where they pinched all the pennies, they saved everything, they scrimped. Even though they could afford things, they never bought extras because the dad was so worried about losing money. So she was raised in this environment to basically always feel badly every time you bought anything, right? So she goes to meet this guru and she buys a coffee. And this guru is staying in this nice fancy hotel. Things are a little more expensive. And the cup of coffee was like, It was like a Starbucks, right? It's like $7 or $10 or something, right? But she bought it anyway. And she's having this coffee with the guru. And the guru says, how do you feel about the coffee? And she's like, well, honestly, like, I like the coffee, but I feel like I shouldn't have spent the money. I kind of feel anxious because, I wasted money. And, I have a lot of anxiety around money and I feel badly when I spend it. Like I shouldn't have actually bought this, but I wanted it. I bought it anyway type thing. And the guru says, okay, now if you made $100,000 in a day, how do you feel about your $10 cup of coffee? And she actually puts herself in that moment and she thinks, well, if I make $100,000 a day, what's $10? She's like, well, then I buy this coffee and I just love this coffee because money's not really an issue. And I just enjoy and I love my coffee. And the guru says, there you go. You enjoy and you love your coffee. And that's the mentality we need to have. Now, there is a difference between needlessly wasting money and actually making purchases that, red light, green light. I talked about that in another video. But the added to this having is not just having the gratitude, the appreciation, but the joy and the savoring of, taking the sip of coffee and just like, yes, I have money. I have more than enough money to buy this coffee and it's so good. And I'm just loving drinking this coffee. And you just sit in that, in your happiness and joy of drinking and loving this coffee. That's the having part. And this is what I think, we really get missing. And I've been taught gratitude by my mindset coaches and stuff like that. This is not new for me, but this book describes it in a different way of adding that happiness. And I think the key, because it's all emotional, you have to get the emotions in. That's how you practice having. It's not the logic, it's the emotions. And the ability to like savor that you have it, because that's its own like savoring to me is the perfect word to describe it because it's a mixture of, you're grateful you have it, you're happy, the enjoyment is there, and just like it's this little bundle, right? And you're just like, yes, right? And that's what it's all about. And again, like it's the quickest and easiest way to wealth and abundance is through practicing having. So I will say, if you don't have this book yet, definitely you have to read it. If you already have it and you haven't read it, oh my goodness, pick it up today. The chapters, again, super short. Just start reading it. Like I said, I'm not even done reading it, but I think this can be a huge game changer for so many people. And your worst case scenario is that you're bringing more happiness and joy and gratitude into your life every day. That's your only downside, right? So I really would love people to just take this to heart, take this book seriously. I think it really is a game changer. And she also says, as a side note, the guru says, depending, again, like it's all about the emotions you put into it. So depending how diligent you are on practicing having, how often, yada, yada, it can take anywhere from 2 weeks to like, I think it was 3, it might have been 6 months. We'll say 6 months just to be safe, but 2 weeks at the earliest. I don't want to say at the earliest, but on average, 2 weeks, 2, 3, or 6 months to actually see that return on investment of practicing having. So like if you're diligent, if you're someone that can implement habits easily, your average of starting to receive the abundance from practicing this having is only 2 weeks. I feel like that's pretty astounding and that's pretty amazing. So if you started practicing that today, you could like potentially be having a really nice Christmas and start as your Christmas gift to yourself, start receiving things, right? Like that abundance. And remember, guys, it comes in many forms. Abundance comes in many forms. It's not necessarily just cash handed to you or necessarily another client signs with you. It could be as simple as like someone, maybe you get, I don't know, your whoever friend, family member has a perfectly, you need a new couch. They're giving away couch. The couch sat in the, second living room that no one ever used, and 3 people have ever sat on this brand new couch. and they're giving it to you for free. Like all of these different things, like you can get gifted a lot of abundance, right? I have a lot of things in my life that have been gifted. I have this crazy Hobart mixer my mother-in-law gave us as a gift. And apparently these things are worth like $1,000. Like it is insane. This is an industrial strength mixer. I have my Oma's Singer sewing machine that still works, gifted. I have even this little guy my friend Jamie gave to me. He's so cute. I have so many things that have this chair was gifted to me. Like I just received this chair, like even just to think of practicing gratitude, because I've been practicing gratitude for quite a while, and to think of all the things currently around me that were literally given to me, right? I think that in itself is pretty amazing. So that's just me though. I just saying, even this guy, this was my mom's, this Scottish looking Christmas thing that I love. I don't know why. I just love him. He's part of, I just, again, gifted. So much abundance around us, even just saying, like, realizing all the things that I've gotten for free. I'm like, it just, yeah, I'm like, whew, I got a lot of stuff. This is amazing, right? So this is just part of like being that grateful, adding the joy, savoring all of it, and just loving what you have. So I hope this helps, guys. Like I said, I really feel like this is going to be huge. Again, that guru says we all have it in us on average. I mean, some more, some less type thing, but on average, all of us have it in us to make $3 to $7 million. That's amazing. Challenge accepted. So get this book, read this book, comment if you have it, you've read it. If you're going to buy it, leave me some feedback. If you've started to receive your abundance, or you've been doing this for a while and you know that it works, or like if you're this is a bunch of malarkey, whatever. I love comments. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this. And yeah, I can't wait to dive deeper into this. So until next time.